Why is the jury laughing?
Zero chance of winning the game.
Supposed to talk glamour to you.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer.
Lee, is there any way I could have your jacket?
Welcome back to Survivor Breakfast. We're talking season 44, episode 6 here. We finally made it to the merge, boys. We had the little, you haven't earned the merge yet, but we're at the merge officially after this episode is done. What are the high-level thoughts here on episode 6?
I think it was again a good testament to how this season's playing out. It was a good diversion episode that from the get-go, Josh was going home, like no doubt, and it was a good diversion episode because the Kane throw off I thought didn't have legs just with edit standpoint. I don't know about you two. I didn't think the Kane thing had legs, to be honest. Yeah. Jam made sense, but I didn't want him to go home. So the outcome was fine with me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean outcome based. I'm totally fine with it. No harm, no foul. I think Kane is being introduced right now like pretty negatively, like right away. Yeah, because we really haven't gotten any Kane, right? No. Like we haven't gotten any positives with Kane. No. This is like the first time that we're really hearing from Kane in the context of the game of Survivor, and it doesn't sound great. I think he's kind of just like, now his name's out there. I don't think that he's going to be able to stop that. I mean, it's too early for your name to be out there with too few people actually wanting you to stay around. So I don't know. I mean, I think his days are limited. I think it could be interesting to talk about how Carson interacted with that entire situation.
Yeah.
I happen to think it was a mistake. I think he made a bad move.
Well,
okay. Well, oh yeah, go ahead.
I do want to talk about this. First of all, I think it seems like the votes right now, it seems like just who has the worst relationships with people. Like who doesn't have good relationships with people, and it's Kane, Jam, and Josh. Those are the people who don't have any
Josh was playing a wild game of Survivor, though. I mean, he had to say he had something or didn't have something at almost in every episode. We've seen him do this.
Yes.
What he should have done is come to the merge and been like, as soon as Brandon asked him like, "Oh, do you have an idol?" Be like, "No, I was lying. I had to try to save myself. I was on a random tribe with people I didn't know." You know what I mean? Like,
Carolyn's out of her mind. I had to say something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. No. I mean, that was ridiculous. But to the Carson thing, Toast, I don't necessarily think it was a great thing. I think he did get screwed by Kane royally. Like, if you have a good relationship with somebody,
what did he expect Kane to do?
Okay, but if I'm Kane and I have a close relationship with somebody and they tell me some confidential information, I'm not going to drop their name because I know that's going to screw them, and then they're going to be pissed at me.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't think you could have any expectations other than what Kane did, to be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Why would he not go around trying to save his ass?
No, I think he can go around and save his ass, but why is he immediately telling people that I told him? I'd be pissed.
Oh, listen. Okay, fine.
That's gonna fuck up his relationship with Carson.
No, I understand that, but he's just seeing red.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and he was freaking out, and we have no evidence to show whether he's a good player or not. So maybe he just wasn't even thinking about that stuff. But
who, Kane? Yeah, no, but
I think I agree with you, Toast. I don't think it was a great move. If I'm Carson and I am saying this information, you got to be very clear, like, please, you cannot let people know that I told you this.
But that's the thing. He wasn't actually thinking on that level when he discussed this with him. That's why it's a bad move. He actually, in my opinion, he kind of succumbed to something that I think a lot of players who are good but not great fall into, which is once they have immunity, they're not bothering to play offensively during that round. It's
offensively or defensively?
Offensively. He's not.
I think he was playing too much offense. To be honest, Carson.
Oh, so when I say that, let me just clarify, because maybe we could be talking about the same thing, but or we could be talking about different things. But what I mean by that is, like, oftentimes people, when they win immunity, whether it be individual or in this case pretty close to individual, which is like half of the cast is safe, half is not, and you're good, you don't have to worry. Like, they kind of take their foot off the gas, like they kind of take themselves out of the game a little bit, knowing that they're not in trouble. And I think Carson was sitting on the beach and he was just like, I'm good. I'm just having a conversation. Like, yeah, your name came up, like, but didn't put any thought into it. There was no like,
No, well, he said in his confessional that I knew I was thinking this right away when they were sitting at the merge feast. I was like, Carson, who's gonna have an issue with this? And I looked and I said, Carson could have an issue with this. They nerded out in that whole confessional about nerds.
Yeah.
sure.
And then in his confessional, he says, I want to work with Kane.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the
keep
re-
him around, of course, if you've got a good relationship with him. I think the mistake, and Toast, I agree with you. I think by your definition of offensive, I think if you're Carson, instead of going to Kane and trying to get him to advocate for himself, instead just advocate for somebody like
Yeah.
instead say, I want to keep Kane around. Well, the best thing for me should be going around, and then Carson should be the one pushing it off onto
Yeah,
Jam Jam
yeah.
or whomever, and
Yeah.
doing that himself.
But the thing is, the reason why it's a mistake is because
He was
clearly-
passive about it.
Sure, yes, that's the point that I mean by offensive. But I also mean we know it's a mistake because reading the room, Carson should have realized that the next alternative would be Jam Jam, and we already had a scene with the three of them, and Carson made it very clear that he wants to keep Jam Jam in the game. Right?
Yeah.
So
No,
if he-
I agree with you. I think my whole dissection of it is that and maybe we are all saying the same thing. I think because
I think so, too.
I think it was a bad move because again, what was your opportunity cost? Is what you're saying right now is that by going to Kane, your opportunity cost was Jam Jam. So is Kane more important to you
Exactly.
than Jam Jam? I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know. He may be, he may not be. The point is that there was no thought put into it. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I think the problem too is now as Carson, you were in such a good position right before this that like now you're almost forced into like your best move now is you have to go after Brandon. Like the one guy who now knows that you told Kane who's now mad at you.
I mean, you're.
I don't know how
playing-
mad. I don't know how mad he was. He ended
I
up
don't think he was
voting
happy.
Jam
I don't
Jam.
think-
He
I don't
voted
think-
Jam Jam. Brandon voted Jam Jam.
Yeah, well everybody wanted to go with the flow when it seemed like the tides were shifting a little bit on that. But
Yeah, Kane no longer was the alternate vote. I mean, Kane
Yeah, 'cause
got himself
people like
out
just
of
make it
that.
easier.
Yeah, because the only person
it-
that voted for Kane was Carolyn. So
Yeah, and I think she just got a little
Yeah,
lost
listen.
in
I
the
mean,
ether.
the only to me the only way I think you're right about the thought part of it. That it clearly wasn't there, and although it was there, that's why he told him, but he didn't think the full thing through because
Yeah.
it set off a ripple effect. One,
yeah,
and then two, like where did it get Carson to do that? Like where did it get him? It just flipped everything.
Yeah.
Kane got himself out of it, and like it just like
and then now it looks like he's talking to a lot of people.
yeah, it looks like
and-
he's
Yeah, that he's
talking to
doing
a lot
stuff.
of people. It wasn't even like Sim was saying before. It wasn't even Kane who flipped the narrative. I mean, Carson who flipped the narrative for Kane. Kane did it himself, and so did the
Yeah.
group. So did the group as a whole. So did Carson accomplish anything? I
No.
don't even know.
No, I think it's a classic case of a little bit of what Toast is saying. He was safe, so he felt a little bit more passive, and then he thought of a correct and good thing of I want to keep the person who I'm close to, but didn't think through step 2 or step 3 of
Yeah,
that process.
exactly.
Well,
He thought
that's
step in
that,
and not 2 or 3.
that's multi-layered Survivor that Toast is talking about, and it's just that it wasn't deep enough. Maybe inconsequential. Shoosh.
Yeah, it would have been
Um,
had Josh actually had an idol, because now
Correct. But
now he actually is choosing between Kane, who it seems like he does have somewhat of a relationship with, though we don't know how fleshed out that may be, versus
Yeah.
somebody who we know he came up to us in the beginning of the episode saying, I want to keep Jam Jam in the game, So, I mean, he did luck out in the sense that Josh was full of shit this entire game, right? I
well,
mean,
okay, so this is a good launching point. We had the whole we had a whole dissection again. Carolyn at the merge feast.
I love this, yeah.
And it's another juxtaposition that she's basically telling how the whole thing will unfold.
And no one's listening.
And no one's listening, although she's completely right and reasonable. But again, we had this discussion thoroughly last
I
week
know.
that like
She
she's
doesn't
going to
get, she doesn't get any respect. She
she's
doesn't.
not
know.
and
Correct
she's not
about that.
going to. She's not
She's-
going to.
she's
I don't
not-
But I
think.
think it could be good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good right now.
It can, but then you vote. You're the only Kane vote tonight. Like, where does that get her?
That was bad. That
It
was
doesn't
not
matter. It make
was
but
not
it makes it almost exactly aligns with what people view her to be right now. I mean, if she voted
is reinforcing.
correctly, yeah,
You're right.
exactly.
You're right, but it's just like
When
No,
when she
I hear what you're saying, Kale. The lack of respect from the other players is worrying. I think there is a world where she does take advantage of it, though, in a potentially good way. And I'm
Yes.
hoping that she can, because I love watching her. And
I
she's
mean,
been
I
getting
guess
so
I
much
guess all,
airtime.
all it could take is that this. I mean, maybe this is it. Maybe the whole painted narrative. I don't. I mean, they've never said once that she has the idol, right? I think they
Nobody
couldn't think that
knows.
she does.
No.
I think
So
she's the
does
only
she
one
play
who
that idol at the right time, at the right
Yeah,
point, get the
she
right
could.
person out, and then boom?
she could, she totally
That would
could.
be fucking mind-boggling.
I'm
guys. That would be
sick.
crazy.
Just
sick.
just
I'm
because
so
she
excited for
voted
that.
so also just like from our perspective, just because she voted for Kane, she might have not been in on the fact that the decoy vote was going to Jam Jam instead, because probably people were like, she's aligned with Jam Jam, we shouldn't tell
could be it.
Carolyn that Jam, but she was in the overarching plan of getting Josh out. We can assume that she knew that Josh was going home, because
Yeah.
she also knew that Josh didn't have an idol. And but speaking to the point that we were just talking about, like, I think it's awesome that like she said exactly, he doesn't have an idol. This is the story. This is how I know he doesn't have an idol, all without revealing that she herself has the idol, which is the real reason why she knows that he doesn't have an idol, right?
Mhm.
Talking about
No.
the true man.
No, I
No,
think
no,
it's,
no, the reason
it's a
she knows is-
conglomerate of all of what he did.
No,
She knows.
no,
it's
no.
not
I'm not.
because
I'm not.
he
I'm
showed her
not
the same
giving.
note again.
Yeah, I'm just saying when she's expressing at the feast is explaining it's a fake idol. It's not a real idol. He showed us the idol. It was made from tree mail. That's how I know. He used the idol that he got from the journey. That one's done. The new one that he said he had was not the right thing. It came from tree mail. But her real confidence in the fact that he doesn't have an idol is that she has the idol, you know, because he's claiming he got the birdcage idol
Birdcage.
from Tika.
Yeah.
But she knows that he didn't because he has
No,
it.
from
Whatever.
Soka. From Soka, right?
No, he claimed he got it from Tika.
No, not the
He-
purple one.
Yes, he did. He claimed he got it from
No,
Tika.
I thought he claimed he got the green one.
I don't think it matters.
Regardless, doesn't matter. The point is that she's going about it in a very convincing way, which we know completely checks out. And Maddie is just like, I think it's a real idol, and everyone's like, I think it's real. I think it's real. Everyone's saying I think it's real, and it's like she's just sitting there like she, whatever.
Can I get your feedback on this though? Because you're excited about. I like her as a character.
She got a lot of screen time in weird ways tonight.
1,000,000%. That's why I brought it up. But like, you also like to dissect great Survivor play, and like, this is different than that. Or do you view this as like? Do you view this as all-time strategic play? Like, how do you what do you?
I don't
I
know
think
what
it's
to
playing
think.
this
I'm not saying it's
all-time
all
screenplay.
time. We need to see how things play out. But if she does this in a way that's like very calculated, I mean, it would be crazy. I
think she's playing well in a different way than we've seen historically, and I think that's
I think
really
she's
fun
just
to
playing
watch.
exactly like Gabler.
I think she's playing better
No.
than Gabler.
I think she's playing better than
She
Gabler.
might be playing slightly better than Gabler, but I think it's the exact same situation.
It's like an intentional goat strategy. We've never really seen
I
it.
know, but I don't think it's intentional.
I think she knows where. Look, we can't rehash the argument from last week, but I think I think that she knows how she comes off to people, and so it is intentional in the fact that she's playing into her strengths as somebody who comes off like that, not in the fact that she's faking who she is as a person.
All right, then let me just leave it off. This is the final point. The question, my contention on it, or question on it, I should say.
Yeah.
If she doesn't spin this into a move, which she can, because she has the idol, right?
She has the ammunition.
And what'd you say?
She has the ammunition. She has the ammo.
Yes. So, but let's say she doesn't, and we're left sitting at tribal like we were last season with Gabler, and she wins because she's the best of the options we have, but she doesn't do anything.
I'm
Or
satisfied.
you're just saying it. We're not at that point yet, so you're saying whatever.
Well,
I think we can't. I think we can speculate. To be honest,
I
with you.
would say that if the post merge parallels or mirrors the pre merge in the way that I'm hoping it will, it's a lot of people. In the beginning, it's 6 people, dwindled down in their case to 3 people, and when there were a lot of people, nobody thought anything of Carolyn. And then when it got down to a little bit of people, fewer people, people started being like, I don't know what Carolyn's up to. There might be some strategy here. If we now take it to the extreme where now there's 12 people and then that dwindles down, maybe that gives her enough time to start garnering respect over time based on the outcomes that we hope she delivers, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I think, for me personally, I think the most likely scenario of a positive scenario for Carolyn is that, like you said at the beginning, with these 12 people, we have a lot of people just kind of ignoring her and like leaving her
Yes.
to the side. And then as we get smaller, I think we're going to get into more and more scenarios where, you know, she could, or where people are going to say to themselves, oh, I can use Carolyn for my own
Yeah,
games.
the intentional.
And
like,
that's
this
going
is
to
it.
present a lot of opportunities for her to use that idol in a really interesting way. I think if she you know, can execute on it, and I think people are going to almost hand her opportunities. I don't know whether she's going to be able to execute on them or not, Kale.
I think she will.
I
feel you on that.
But
Listen.
I think people are going to hand her good scenarios on a silver
I
platter.
like
They're
her a lot.
underestimating her. They're
I'm
totally
not.
underestimating her.
I'm not. The vote. She threw a vote randomly at Kane tonight. I think
No,
that's
but it
the-
wasn't
That's not
random.
random.
Yes,
You know
it
that's not
was.
random.
No, it wasn't. It
That was
wasn't
not
because
random. She
'cause-
thought
'cause-
that was the original
But
vote.
she was by herself when she did it. It just makes it. It just makes it just
But
bad.
but okay, listen. The only person
It's better to be on the majority vote. No.
yeah, but hear me out. There's two people that okay, so Jam Jam is definitely voting for Josh. Josh is voting for Jam Jam because he's aware that we're voting for Jam Jam because everybody who was voting for Kane now is saying, "Oh no, we're switching it to Jam Jam." He still knows he's voting for Jam Jam. The only other person that could tell Carolyn that it's the decoy is not Kane is Carson, who just
But
got his entire game
I'll
blown up
cut your
for
whole
telling
argument.
somebody.
I'll cut your
Wait,
whole argument
there's
off right now.
nobody-
She's the one pitching. There doesn't need to be a decoy.
But she's still trying to be a part of the group. It just so happens
I think
that the
she's
group.
But she
Hold
has
out.
no respect anywhere. It's just like I don't know. I don't
But
know.
that's no one's denying that. That's exactly what we're talking
I
about.
don't think she needs respect. I think she needs opportunities, and I think
You
she's gonna
think
get them.
Carson would
And
go up to Carolyn and say, "Oh, actually, the decoy is not Kane now. Now it's
Bro,
Jam Jam."
I just think like if you told me these are the two things that are gonna happen this season, she's gonna pull a dope move with that idol, or she's gonna vote singularly someone random every single tribal. I think the higher likelihood is the latter.
I think that's wrong. But let's keep
That's
moving, 'cause we can't
disrespectful. I
rehash-
agree, but I'm
We
sorry.
can't rehash the same argument. I think I'm excited to see where she goes. Well, actually, before we get to that, I want to ask, just in case, is there anything that Josh could have done
no.
this week to save
No.
himself,
No,
or was he always screwed?
He I don't know. He enters. He's the topic of discussion at every time he
Where's
enters
Josh?
onto a camp site
Yeah.
because he's
How
just
to get rid of
There's a
this
black
fucking guy.
cloud following him. You know, like a storm cloud.
he's talking about million different idols. When he comes to Tika, he's talking about his job that he doesn't have. It's just like
They called him on the job thing quick.
well, but
Mhm.
he keeps doing the same thing. I don't know. I don't know
Well,
why he was
yeah.
doing it.
To compare it to what we just talked about with Carson's level of thinking, where he was at stage 1 and he really should have been at 2 or 3, I think Josh is really at -1 because what he's doing is he's concocting lies, and then in the confessional he says to us, he's like, "I'll figure that out later." Like
Yeah.
like I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say
Yeah,
right
think of
now,
it
and then
before
later on
you
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's fucking it's percolated into fucking 15 things that everybody else has talked about
Yeah.
already.
He doesn't even know. He
Yeah.
doesn't even realize, but he's like, "I'll do the damage
It
control."
seems like to me, Josh's fatal flaw is one. I don't think he has been making great relationships with people. I think that was his first big mistake. But I think the other thing is, it seems like to me that he's lying about stuff and like creating distractions, but hasn't thought through why he's doing those things. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna lie about the idol thing when he comes back on the merge, but like he hasn't thought through like, but why would I do that? Why would I continue this lie? He's just doing it just because.
That's
Whereas I feel
exactly my point.
We've seen, I know we've seen other players like Matthew who left us last week because of the shoulder injury. I think he like had some decoy stuff with people on his tribe, but for a specific purpose. And
Yeah,
it
it
feels
was
like
thoughtful.
Josh is just doing it. Josh is lying for no real gain. And it's
Yeah.
like, why put yourself in a? You might as well tell the truth at that point if you're not going to have any gain from it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you guys. I don't think there was anything he could have done to save himself.
What's particularly damning about the incident tonight with Josh was that before he left Soka, he was actually saved by being transferred over to Tika because
Yes.
they were going to vote him out. Now we get to a merge scenario where there's all of these people that you've never met before that could be voted for, and all of Soka's like, nah, we're still going with Josh.
Yeah.
That's
That's
bad.
bad.
For
That's
Josh,
bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I just think it was just the repetitive nature of him just continually building up these stories that just were insane. So
Didn't check
it
out.
was just it was
Yeah.
it was wild. What is the one part I wanted to talk about? I guess I mean this will be a bigger part of our conversation tonight, but did Brandon garner any respect from you guys tonight in terms of presence?
More than he had before, but I don't know if that's
Okay.
just because he got more screen time or what. You know, I
But
did
talk about
like
the other
that
side.
he
Talk
seemed-
about the other side of the spectrum from Carolyn. I think he's commanding respect between people in terms of votes.
I agree. I mean, he seemed like he got people on board for Kane pretty easily. It didn't seem like that was too hard of a lift from him. And I thought he did it in such a way that it wasn't immediately obvious that he has this huge grudge against Kane, which he obviously did have or still has a grudge against Kane. So I liked that. I think we need to see more from him. We haven't seen a lot from him this season, so I'm excited to see if he can do some more stuff. But I would say that it was definite improvement on my view of Brandon for this episode for sure. Not huge, but I think definitely an improvement.
It just makes me feel weird about it because it's like you see like, yeah, he's doing stuff and like commanding the votes, and yet still we're spending all this time on Carolyn. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Oh
it's
my
like
God, we
this-
can't go back
we
to
can't.
Carolyn.
I'm not. No, I
Well,
don't intend on it. I'm just saying
Okay,
it almost feels like not as important, even though, yeah, generally speaking, it is more important into the context of what's happening right now.
fair, but who also had a pretty decent amount of screen time tonight?
Maddie? I think Maddie was the one that mentioned Kane first at the feast.
I'm talking more confessional.
Jamie was
Jam
too
Jam
much.
the
Yes,
most
Jamie
confessional.
was a fuck ton.
Yeah, Jamie, but all of them are.
It was Jamie the most.
I
and Jam
I
Jam.
was watching with Harrison. I'm like, she keeps calling herself the MVP. She's really like the LAP. She's the least aware person.
I don't think she's.
That's what she
Look,
is.
I feel
She
really
has
bad
no
for her. I think
awareness.
she's
Hold on a
just
second.
not cut
Hold.
up. I don't think she's not cut up.
I gotta
for this game.
knock you down a peg because to me, like you're saying there's a discernible difference between
by
what's
a
going on
lot.
with her and Carolyn.
By a lot. Carolyn doesn't have a
Oh,
false
by
sense
a
of
lot,
confidence. Carolyn isn't going around saying I'm running the show. Everyone should want to talk to me. I'm the most
She's
important
not
person.
saying the words
She's
"I'm
like,
running the
she's
show."
the
She
most-
has not
she-
once said
she-
She's
she
not
is.
once said the
Yes,
words
she
"I'm running the
has.
show." She said there was
said
a
she was the
wand
mo-
and shit.
She said I'm the most valuable player.
Okay, but you know edits, right? And so in edits, usually that corresponds and juxtaposes to like her name being brought up and shit, which it's not. So what?
No,
So what is this?
But she got a dodo edit when she got a fake idol that she thinks is real. She thinks she has
Which
a
she
real
still
idol
has the fake,
and that she
and
has
she
great
lost her real.
relationships. Yeah, exactly. And she thinks she has great relationships. She said that I've spoken to the most people in this game, which is
You may
true.
have.
No,
Yeah.
no, it is because she was on
Yeah.
the two large tribes back and forth. Plus,
Technically, yes.
she's been on the journey. But regardless, that doesn't make any. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It's not coming across as like
Yeah,
I don't believe her when she says.
Carolyn is playing an infinitely better game than Jamie.
Infinitely
That's-
better game.
Like
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah.
significantly
That's crazy.
infantabulously.
No, I want to be clear. Are you trying to say that you think that Jamie and Carolyn are playing an equivalent game?
Yeah,
I
that's what
don't think
he's
it's
saying.
discernible. I
You're
really
smiling.
don't.
You know that's not true.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't.
smiling. You know
I'm
that's
just
not
saying,
true.
like, I don't.
Carolyn has like the only resume thing in the entire island right now.
No. Danny's
Brandon,
got some.
maybe.
Yeah, Danny's got
Yeah,
a ton
okay,
to his name.
Danny's, but
Brandon with
his
the
stuff
other.
hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yeah. I
No,
think
This is
but-
still,
Kale,
it's still
Kale,
a landmine.
just to break down the difference, one fake idol that she thinks is real in the hands of
Yeah.
Jamie versus one idol that is real, knows is real, that no one knows about in Carolyn. That's one difference. Two, Carolyn is very aware of the fact that she's struggling to get to know these people. Like she says it to the camera. I need to figure out a way to
Yeah,
go
that-
in. I have to wait. I have to wait until I get
But
my
it's
moment.
not
Wait,
changing. It's not completely changing what she's doing.
No,
Well,
no,
then-
but then you have Jamie on the other side saying I'm the most valuable person here, and it not being actually
It's-
portrayed in the
I
edit
don't
that
think
she
she's
is.
actually said those. I don't think she said most valuable person.
She did. Why do you think we're
She
saying
did.
this?
She said most valuable player, and said I'm the end. It was like the cut.
Yeah, she said
Okay,
it.
but she didn't say ever that she was running the show.
I think she did.
No, she didn't say that.
What do you
verbatim.
think MVP
No,
means?
she did a couple, she
No,
did a
I mean,
couple
okay,
episodes
fine.
ago, She did.
I don't think she said those exact.
Those are
Yeah,
two.
but
Like
you're out.
you really can't
Out.
conflate those
Jamie's-
two things. I
Jamie
mean,
is out. Jamie is not cut out for this game.
I tend to agree. I'm sorry.
I just don't. I don't think it's fair to say Carolyn's actually running the show and Jamie in La La Land, who
not-
thinks she's running the show,
We're not. We are
is
not.
No one's saying-
completely off base.
Neither of them are running the
Nobody
show.
is saying- Nobody is saying that Carolyn is running the show. We're saying Carolyn's playing a way
Okay.
better game than Jamie.
Yeah. And even if you think that Carolyn is not aware, the way that they are different is important because she is aware that she's not getting involved as well as she could be, and she needs to figure out a way to get in, is Carolyn. Whereas Jamie thinks she doesn't need to improve. She's already the best.
I candidly don't know
And we
what
have
to think.
said
of
as a
Jamie,
group,
to be honest.
self-awareness is one of the most important skills you could have in Survivor.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't. I don't know what to think with Jamie because again, I unless they're building up the edit for an epic failure with the fake idol, which could be the case, right? I don't get the edit.
That's probably
Like
it, though.
it's a long game edit so far. No,
Yeah. I mean, the
you
long
don't you don't build up a character like this for nothing.
Yeah, but then there's also people that get really far in the
Jamie?
game that have no edit, you know?
I just think Jamie's edit is like, I think she's gotten like top 5 screen time.
Yeah. Do you think that Heidi's going to
really
go far?
bad
Because I
edit.
think Heidi's going to go far too.
No, I mean she won't be relevant. I don't think.
No,
I
that's
think
not what
Heidi's like
I'm
a-
not talking
I think
about
Heidi's-
relevance. I'm saying far in the game. I think she still is going to go far.
I think
Like a
Heidi's
Heather or a
final six
Chelsea.
and then just kind of get.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
do you think Heidi or Jamie has a better chance of winning the game?
It's not
better
even
chance
like
of
a
winning
question
the
that
game?
Yeah.
I think
I
Heidi
don't know. I
does,
don't
but
think
it's
either
not.
of them have
I
a good chance
don't-
of winning the game, but I think
it's not a
Heidi has a
thing.
better chance than Jamie.
Heidi has a better
I
chance.
think-
I don't know.
I think Jamie's story is
I
going to
think
come
we're talking
crashing
about
down.
the
If she went in
relevant
front of,
stuff, though.
yeah, it's irrelevant. I
Who
agree.
cares? Who cares? Smaller moment in the episode I wanted to talk about, and maybe they're not allowed to talk about here, but something that I did want to bring up is I really liked the moment in the water with Danny and Jam Jam, where I feel like Danny is continuing to do a really good job of keeping himself in the background, where Jam Jam was like, "What are you guys gonna do? Whatever," and Danny was
Jam
like,
Jam's
"I don't know.
always going to be that way.
No, I know. But Danny was like, "Oh, I don't know. As soon as the winner guys come back, I'll just vote whatever they're voting." Like just making sure to be very clear, like, "Oh, I'm passive. I'm a passive guy." Meanwhile, we know how
Yeah.
active he is in the background. I just thought that was a really
Yeah.
it was really quick, but I just really liked that for the way that Danny's playing the game.
I'll
Easily
build
keeping up the act.
I'll
I
build
agree with
off
that,
of
Timmy. It's a good
I'll
point.
build off of you speaking about that. I thought it was a good episode, and I agree with you. But now, from a Survivor strategical lens, do you think, and again, I guess it's circumstantial season to season, but every season has a merge, has 12 people, and I guess you do have to feel out where you are. But are you utilizing these early merge votes, 12, 10, 12, 11, 10, 9 people left to really, again, are you going to play the Danny way? Do you think that's better? Or I mean, Carson did it in a sloppy way, but I think there's a better way to do what Carson did tonight. And he could build allies, plurally, like having the Jam Carolyn situation, and now he puts Kane in his back pocket. This builds you an arsenal going forward. What I mean,
Yeah,
where do you
I
lie
think
on
it's.
that?
I think they're playing very different games, as I think we can see. I don't know. I think it really depends on what your strengths are as a player and what you think you can do most authentically. It definitely seems like Carson's going the middle ground, make a lot of really strong, but disparate allies. And
Which I think
Danny's
he's
kind of
doing,
going the
candidly. I think Carson's
I think
doing
he
that.
is. I agree. I think he's doing a really good job so far. Obviously, he had a little bit of a hiccup this episode, but I think he is doing a good job. I think Danny's playing a very different game. Danny's playing the almost unconnected, but still have a good relationship with a lot of people, but pretty surface level almost, it seems like. But he's really, I think, doing a phenomenal job of keeping eyes and spotlight off of him in the game. And I think either strategy could win you the game. I think it's just who's going to be able to execute on it slightly better. I think both of them have risks, right? Carson's risk is that he brings too much attention to himself by having all of these relationships. And then if it becomes too obvious that he's doing these things, obviously the spotlight's going to swivel right to you.
Yeah.
Danny's risk is a little bit less spotlight based, but more defensibility based. If we run into a scenario where, he's in danger, there's not a lot of people who are going to maybe stick out their necks for him.
I'm also feeling Danny's risk is he doesn't do anything potentially. I mean, he has an idol, so yes, this whole thing can work. But
I feel pretty confident that he will eventually do some stuff just because of his pre-merge behavior.
Wait,
He's doing all this work with the fake idol and all that other stuff.
I might be lost. Are we? Simi, I thought the point that you were making with the Jam interaction was that he was basically like, I'm not going to engage in this. Like, you could talk to the other guys. Like I'm not going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not worth your time right now to talk to, playing like in disguise. But when we see him at the sanctuary, he and Brandon are very clearly saying, this is who we're going to go after. 1, 2, 3. So, like, I think he is doing stuff. I think that he's doing stuff.
I agree.
As it relates to getting out people that he wants to get out. But I guess what we're talking about now is he making good relationships, or is he just targeting people he doesn't want?
It seems like
to build off what you just
low key public face and a very active,
that whole conversation with Brandon,
face.
did that even ensue today?
That one's
but
it seemed like kind of.
I think that Danny's confidence in talking with Brandon is that I think he really truly believes that Brandon is smart enough to know that they are both natural allies in the sense that they're shielding one another. Yeah. And it's all about who thinks that they're the bigger threat or can convince other people that the other one is a bigger threat. Mm-hmm. I think that Danny is going to say anything he wants to Brandon not because he's necessarily loyal, but because he knows that their interests are aligned inherently. Like, they should both be going after weaker people in his head. And he thinks that Brandon should think the same thing. Therefore, Brandon does think the same thing. And he'll be candid with him. But with everybody else, he might come off as passive, which I think is a good strategy.
Here's my other piece of bringing this up, because again, I still think it's a worthwhile conversation figuring out the new meta in Survivor. And again,
I was going to answer it, Kale. I was going to answer your original.
Go ahead.
Me personally, I don't think votes 12 through 8 matter. I think,
but it did last season.
Not really.
It did.
Not really.
Gabler won because of it.
The vote that won the game was 12.
No. Okay, fine. No. So what I mean by that is, like, who goes home, it doesn't really matter as much. If you're going to lay claim to being the owner of one of those moves, sure, then that matters. But generally speaking, if you could just survive and get by and make good relationships and not have it be that, like, everyone's like, oh my God, he's the most well-liked person, or she's so well-liked, we have to get rid of her. I think that go with the flow from 12 to 8 and maintaining the ability to make connections with people to move forward is the most important thing in the meta currently. I think it's more important than being the person to stick their neck out and be like, I want this person out. Because when you say I want this person out, then you're out next. That's what we've seen more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with it. That point. It's just so tough because it's been so fucking hard to navigate making it through fire. You got like the best player either it loses out at 6 or 5 or is in that fire making and can't win it. It continues to be be way. So like
you got to get good at making fire before you get on the island. I mean,
listen.
Carson is
I said that
every puzzle that's appeared. Wait, seriously, Carson's 3D printing every puzzle, and it's like that's called preparation. Like you got to learn how to make you got to know how to make fire.
Yeah,
it's like the most. I mean, in my family, when we watch this all the time, it's like when people falter at fire, it's immediately like the biggest. Like, what are you doing? You know you're going.
Well, there's also
fire?
Nerves.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Fine. But I'm saying, like, if you got cast on Survivor, are you not making fire, Kale? That you're making fire.
I mean,
you won't be warm.
Every day.
Yourself fire
every morning. Yeah. I can't eat breakfast until I make fire.
So what the hell? I mean, you don't have to be I don't know if it necessarily correlates 1-to-1 with challenge prowess and athleticism. I'm sure there's people that are not great at all of the challenges and can make fire like that. So it's like, I think that there's a way around it. If you're a good player, you might not be good at challenges, but if you can practice fire enough and know how to do it, you're good.
Can Jan Jam win?
He's taking a lot of attention right now.
I think he's got a really tough road.
I think he can win still.
It's not out of the cards. It's just that his name being brought up so quickly in the merge is like really bad. I mean, Kane's votes are limited. Kane is going home within the next 3 votes because his name got brought up.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just so hard to get traction on someone else.
3 votes.
Well, it's like nobody once the attention goes to somebody, the inertia of moving it to somebody else is so tough because everybody's just thinking anybody but me. So everybody's like, let's rock the boat. If the attention's over there, leave it over there.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, yes, but in the preview, which we all knew was probably going to come to fruition at some point, the couple was going to get lights shone on them.
I think that they're powerful. I really do. Kill. I said this last week. I think that they're going to be a hub of power.
But they're getting a lot of attention. I do agree. You cannot be laying together holding hands. You can't be doing it.
Ooh, I had a
cannot be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be. I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah. So the point I was going to make is that in Heroes versus Villains, Boston Rob has this great quote where he looks at the camera. He's like, "You want to know who's close to each other when you're out on the beach? This is something you could look for." Basically, talking to the audience, being like, "When you're out here playing Survivor, this is what you look for. Who's sleeping next to who? Right? They're comfortable." He's like, "You see how Parvati and Danielle are coming up to Russell and sleeping next to him? They're aligned." They're like, that's what it is. So it's like, okay, yeah, clearly laying next to each other. But when they're laying next to each other, meaning Franny and Maddie, and they talk about how they need to keep things low key, we cut to the feast scene and they sit next to each other. It's like they can't help it. They're just
stop. They're
like
in love.
But they should. But you got to think, like, if they're thinking at all, they shouldn't be sitting next to each other, right? Like,
well, I mean, you fall in love a time or two.
And I sit next. Yeah, you can't sit next to them.
I think the problem, Toast, is that they're not thinking. They are
blinded, baby. It's love, baby.
But I know, but in this scenario, it's like there's actual like risk involved with people knowing it.
Yeah, I understand, really, but love is powerful. Sim knows it.
We agree.
Sim knows it.
It's $1 million relationship.
Yeah.
No. Look at it.
There's nothing like sitting next to your girlfriend. There's nothing like it.
They got it. They gotta chill. They have to. They must. What I'm interested in is, do you guys have any speculation on that preview of what this twist is that they won't be deciding who goes home? Any speculation on what that might be?
Maybe it's like you get an advantage in the challenge that would make it more likely that you get immunity, but if you then win it, you don't get to decide. I don't know.
I don't know.
But-
either,
but-
we're getting towards the end of our time, so let's do our stock report then. For
Oh,
this
I was
week.
just gonna just
Oh,
speak on
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
was sorry. So if it's the case that you don't get the say, but you have a higher chance of getting immunity, that is kind of playing with the idea that we were just talking about, whether or not it's better to have a say in who goes home and go towards that, or just be safe and get through the first 4 votes. If
I
it's
think
the case
at this
that
point in the game, I wouldn't want to say.
yeah, I'd rather not have a say. I'm like, if I can get along with Maddie as well as I can get along with Franny, which at this point I'm hoping I'm able to do, I don't care which one goes home. I'll just pick which one when I get there.
I think Maddie's saying some wild things, by the way.
Okay.
Like his
So-
whole story with the what was it, the picture on the ski slope. I was like,
I was
whoa.
like, what?
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
that was
said.
bizarre. That was
Like-
bizarre.
like,
He's
I-
a little odd. He's an odd duck. That's okay.
There were a
Yeah,
couple
but
people that took a
lends me
stab
to
at like an
believe that
analogy.
that lends me to believe
They
he's
were
gonna
working.
end up following Franny at the end of the day.
I think Franny has the power there
Yes.
between the two of them.
Yeah, now she finally has 2 votes. You know?
Yes.
Yes. She finally has 2 votes. Okay, let's do our stock report.
Yeah.
Kale, I'll throw it to you first. Who's rising for you? Who's falling for you after this week?
Falling. I think we like we said we were all in agreement that Carson I don't think had the
Yeah.
forethought that he needed to
Yeah.
tonight. I think he again screen time edit wise he's been superb. He's going to be meaningful in the long scheme of this game,
I think
but at the same time, yeah, this was a bit of a blunder tonight.
Mhm.
And in the face of that, I do think Brandon elevated his presence. And the big conversation for me and is that again, this game is so interesting because you do need to command respect to lead votes, I think, and his juxtaposition to commanding some respect versus Carolyn's, I think, is very very interesting because I do, as much as it seems like I'm like just not on board with her, I just think she hasn't earned anything to be on board with. But I do want to see her do something. I do want to see it. I think it would be magical TV. I don't think she's commanded the room just yet. So to me, it was a stock
Sure.
down for her.
Sure.
For Carolyn? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess just to respond is that I don't know if we being Simi and myself believe that it would be a good thing right now for her to command the room. It's not who she is, you know? It's the long game that
It's
we're
not
interested in.
it's not about doing it now. I just I don't see how it ever
However.
matriculates.
An eventuality.
Yeah.
Okay, and if it doesn't, I'd be upset. I think you would be upset too. We all
Yeah,
want
yeah,
it.
100%. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right.
Toast, what's your stock report for this week?
I agree with the Carson going down. I feel like he had like it was really sad because he had a very hot moment followed by a very cold moment because the hot moment was he destroyed the puzzle and then he bit his tongue and he didn't say, "Oh, this is because I 3D printed the puzzles and I know how to do all of them." Like Matthew did when he did
lot of
the
people do that.
snake puzzle. He bit his tongue. He owned it. He was like, he did well. He went back to the beach. He's like, he crushed it. We had a little montage of him actually printing the same exact puzzle and solving it, like he said 50 times over right away. And it's like, that's great. I mean, I was like, that's awesome.
And don't tell the group.
And didn't tell the group, didn't have to brag, could just sit there and be like, I did what I needed to do. And then we get to the beach and he does have this blunder. And the blunder wasn't even just like a minor blunder because the edit like made it like highlighted it because Brandon's like, who's going to be the one person to say the thing? Cut to them on the beach and he says the thing. It's like, okay,
It did seem like his tactic to play it off was he just was going like, "Oh my god, oh my god, like
Yeah.
I'm dumb as fuck." So
Yeah.
you know,
I
it-
think
that
that's as best as you're gonna do on
Yes,
Yeah.
playing
I
it
think
off.
so.
So it was a hot and then a cold, and I just feel like because the cold happened after the hot, it has to go downward a little bit. I'm not writing him off by any means. I think I said her last time as a stock rise up. I think Franny is moving up. I think that even though the next episode hints, we all know how that works. There's neither of the two of them are going home next week, right? Maybe they're getting a little bit more on the radar, which is not great. But I do think that she's finally coming to fruition as the person who now has 2 votes because I think that she's in control of this power dynamic between the two of them. And I think that a lot of other people who may not be as active in deciding who goes home will gravitate towards that hub, that little nucleus, because they do have 2 votes already locked up. If you can get one of them, you can get both of them. And if you want to go where the votes are, it's better to go towards 2 than it is to go towards 1. And I think that that is something that might come into play as we move forward in this bigger, larger, post merge.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with a lot of what you guys said. Carson, I think stock down. I agree with that. I think Danny continues to be a stock up for me with that little moment in the water with Jam Jam. I think that's another good indication of the way he's trying to play the game. I'm a little iffy on Franny being a stock up for me. It's pretty neutral for me because I think I do agree with you. She finally has that second vote online for her, but that increased awareness. I think it's
brief
problematic.
feedback. I don't think Franny and Danny are long for the game together. I think they clash.
That they're gonna butt heads eventually.
Yeah, if one of them were to win, it takes a clash and it takes the winner to get through that.
I think it'll be interesting to see if they do butt heads, who comes out on top, because I think they both have, advantages over the other, right? From Danny's side, it's really easy to throw some spotlight and threat over to the other side. But from Franny and Maddie's side, like we said, she has basically 2 votes. So it'll be interesting to see
the fake idol.
I mean, look, the real power play is like if they aligned with each other, killed everybody else off, and then somebody,
They basically are aligned together right now.
For right
Like,
now.
we're
For right
ignoring
now.
the fact that they are voting in unison.
Yeah, we'll see though.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's great for Danny's game though. Like I
think it's a dangerous
eventually
position.
it'll come to
I think it's
eventually it'll have
dangerous
to
for
hit.
Danny because it's a 2v1 if it really comes down to
Yeah,
it, which I
yeah.
think is bad. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited to see where the rest of this season goes. Like we've been saying all week, I think this season's been great for all of us so far. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun watching it. If you guys have been watching live on YouTube, we really appreciate you guys getting in there. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think of this season. We're gonna be live every week at about 9:20, 9:30 after the episode, Eastern Standard Time. So hop in future weeks, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and join us in future weeks. But other than that, boys, I'll see you next time.